Welcome to the Alta4.co Week in Review for week 42, October 17th through the 21st, 2022. And what did we talk about this week? Well, Monday on my podcast, I talked about revisiting software and hardware. And I've talked about this once before. It was in April 2020. At that point, I was trying to get across that spending money on accessories and things to make your life easier was probably better than buying another tool. You can look up that post if you're interested, but this time it's talking about spending money on experiences versus things. And so as I get older, I start to want to acquire less things, but still want to have these experiences. And that's what I'm talking about in my podcast. On Tuesday, I have Will It Juice. So this is my inaugural attempt to use my apple press, and I didn't use it for apples actually, I used it for grapes. That's why it's titled the way it is. I was given some grapes that I didn't want to go bad, plus I have some grapes growing and it's harvest time plus to get them done, so I wanted to see if I could use it, and you can learn about that on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I talked about electric yard tools and my opinions that are starting to change. I guess I must be getting old because all these perspectives that I once held are starting to change based on my age. Anyway, I talk about the value that represents in electric yard tools primarily versus gas, but this was triggered by my use of a small electric cultivator that I got from my father-in-law when I was cleaning out his shed last year, and hadn't really used it, just put it away, and now I wanted to do some overseeding before the seasons changed. So this is more of an opinion, but it's talking about electric yard tools. On Thursday, Tactical Thursday, I have comparisons of some laser rangefinders. One is vintage 2009 and one is vintage 2022, a couple weeks ago. So I'm talking about what new functions and features there are, what's the differences, why you might want to use a new one versus an old one. And so it's kind of a review, although I haven't really used my new one yet a whole bunch, but it's really comparing the old one to the new one. And then finally on Friday, I have the Atlas Shrugged review. This is part 2, chapter 6, and really what I kind of go all over the place a little bit, but I think it makes sense when you read it. It's talking about the rules that were set up for Directive 10-289. Those of you that have read the book, you'll see the rules in the post, and ultimately I get into economic policy and how that's changed and how that relates to the book and why we just need to be careful with it. So with that, have a good week, and we will see you next week.